Welcome and thanks for joining us for another episode of Code Girls on Air, a podcast exploring all things technology, female leadership, careers, education, and topics within the nonprofit sector. On this episode, we interviewed Maria Holden, who is the Retention Marketing Manager at onXmaps. So join Maria and me to hear more of her story. Welcome, Maria. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for inviting me. What a fun program to join.
Yeah, of course. Do you think you could start by just introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about your background and your career?
I would love to. So I'm Maria Holden. I have been at a company that's based in Montana called onXmaps for about 4 years now. And I work in our marketing automation department. So marketing as a whole has a lot of different divisions, types of ways to interact with customers and potential customers, and in my case, a lot of subscribers. Um, in my role is that I get to communicate with them and help them out through email, push notification, and in-app messaging. Before that, I worked for a retail company and was in more box store and online
Mm.
marketing. So we were selling physical products. Today, obviously, I'm in a tech company that sells an app for outdoor enthusiasts and tries to make their outdoor adventures all that more enjoyable through a really great mapping experience.
Wonderful. So, marketing as a whole, did you always want to go into that, or was that something, did you study something different in school and then kind of come to this later?
Uh, you nailed it. I studied something completely different in school. I, I went to school at the University of South Dakota. I stayed in state when I was making that decision. I decided that I didn't want to pay a lot of money for school and ended up getting out with very low student debt, and studied journalism and international studies and Spanish across a 4 year span. So I didn't study marketing until later in life, but I started my career out in AmeriCorps. So I took a year break after I graduated from college. I volunteered basically for almost a year, and then decided that I wanted to figure out how to take the journalism side of my college background and turn that into a fundraising and philanthropic advisor kind of role for that organization. It took a lot of writing. It took a lot of understanding people. It took a lot of understanding their motivations. It took a lot of relating to people and wanting to figure out how to help them. And I think through that experience, I realized that the way to do that and frankly get paid enough money to live where I live in the beautiful place that I call home of Bozeman, Montana, I needed to figure out how to work that skill set into the business world. And that's when I transferred over to the retail company. Well, I worked for a couple different nonprofits in philanthropy, and then transferred that skill over to marketing for the retail company. And man, I just love it. It's a really, really great way to, man, like you just get to help people. It's like marketing, I think a lot of times people think about it as from the graphic design perspective of making
Mm-hmm.
ads and like building visuals. And that's a huge piece of what makes a marketing strategy successful. But there's a lot of thought and data and segmentation and research and understanding of the people that you're trying to interact with and help them gain value from the thing that you have to offer them. And that's really what a great marketer does. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and that became kind of the thing I realized that I liked doing a lot. I did eventually go back to school and I got some digital certifications from an online program at Duke University. And that
Okay.
was a continuing education program. So I do have my credentials now, but I did spend almost 9 years without them.
Wow. And so when you shifted from retail to now you're selling a digital product, was that a very big shift in your work that you do for marketing, or was that kind of similar?
What the biggest shift was that the retail company was leaning into what I would call more traditional methods. That retail company was really about people who work in the agricultural and the construction and more land-based
Mm-hmm.
um, uh, trades. And through that, we needed to get in touch with our customers in channels that they pay attention to. Every business is going to have a different type of channel mix that resonates for their customer base. So if you
Mm-hmm.
know your customers really well, you're going to be able to pick channels that resonate with them that hold the customer base that you need to talk to. So in that world, I was working with newspaper ads and radio ads and digital advertising. I was strategizing for email. But in onX, what we're talking about a mobile app business that sells subscriptions and access tiers to the different levels of membership that we offer. And we're working in auto renewing subscriptions.
Mm-hmm.
The stores themselves are very different that you're selling through, and you're trying to pass customers in a customer journey from one step to the next, and you got to start in places that are really easy for them to continue that journey.
Mm-hmm.
So things like email becomes really important. We do have push notification programs. We have an SMS program. We have an app, so we can actually message people within the app
Oh,
um,
okay.
from a marketing perspective. We also, and that is all where I work. So I
Gotcha.
really work with people who have already created an account with us, and I really try to nurture that relationship with them so that they're getting the best value, the ultimate performance from our product. And it's not even a conversation at that point about whether or not they want to continue paying for their subscription because they're getting so much value for their dollar. If we've
Mm-hmm.
helped them in the ways that we need to, they're going to continue that subscription. Whereas with
Yeah.
retail, it's a constant persuasion to get them to come back into your store to get the next
Mm-hmm.
thing, need the next thing.
Yeah. So that is kind of different, but similar in a few ways.
Yeah, yeah.
What would you
There's
say
a lot of
most surprised?
transfer.
Yeah. Um, sorry, what would you say most surprised you when you were starting out in your now marketing career?
Oh boy. Um, maybe it shouldn't have surprised me. But because I had come from nonprofit, I think I was really surprised by how willing my team was to help me. I
Hmm.
kind of thought that maybe I had this impression while I was in the nonprofit world that there were maybe like the business was scary or the that a tech company was that I just wouldn't understand it, that it was too
Mhm.
complex for me, that I didn't have a lot of formal training until I went back to school to get that, and that I would be spit out by that machine so quickly, and I'd get chewed up, and it'd be really hard. And the fact of the matter was that I have found in both of my marketing employment scenarios that I have found incredible teammates. And I did not know how amazing a really strong team could be and what it feels like to have supportive teammates, people who are willing to share their expertise and help me out in my programs, where a shared goal, a shared goal like let's make more money is not all that fun to work for as an
Yeah.
employee, but a shared goal like help your customer go hunt and find an elk this year that not only fills their freezer but um, is a tradition and a memory that really like fills their cup as an individual. Like that's a really cool mission to get to work
Mhm.
toward. And I get to do that every single day, and every single one of my teammates is just as inspired to do that. It's not about, I mean, at the end of the day, we have to make money. It's a business. And just and nonprofits have to make money too. They just are called nonprofit for some strange, that you don't get taxed on it the same way, but you do need to figure out that piece about your company that you can
Hmm.
really relate to. I did not realize that was available in business. I thought that was like unique to nonprofit or something, but it's not.
Yeah. Well, that's a wonderful surprise to come into a new career.
Yeah.
So when you were entering it, did you have any mentors or resources that you really utilized during that time?
Um, man, I would, what I would say is that anytime I've made a shift or felt like there's been a transition to make, whether it was from high school to college or college to my first job or my first job to my next job, I will say that I can't think of a transition that I've made where I haven't had somebody who backed me on it, somebody who kind of lifted me up. And, when I went to college, it was a woman who owned a marketing company and saw something in me and was willing to put some extra effort into me, created an internship for me. And certainly I had to have the courage to say yes to it, but there was someone there who lifted me up. Same thing when I left college. I had, um, that same mentor was still there with me. Frankly,
Mhm.
when I started my first fundraising job and took my first full-time employment position doing that, that same woman made my first donation.
Aw.
So there are people who have embraced me on every one of those transitions, whether it was my supervisor or a coworker. I still go out to lunch every single month with my former supervisor from the retail company and my
Wow.
closest colleague. So I
So
really feel
sweet.
like the people that you choose to surround yourself with are what gets you through some of those transitions because some
Hmm.
aren't easy.
Right. That would be scary.
Yeah.
Kind of shifting gears now to kind of your day-to-day life. Can you tell me what a day in your life looks like now?
Yeah. Um, Well, I'm going to start from the beginning because I am 42 years old. So I have two kids and a husband. So when I get up in the morning, that day starts with getting them out of the house. I gotta get them to school and him to work too. And luckily I have a great I have a we have a great little family and those kids are amazing and
Mhm.
they make my life easier a lot of times. But it does start out kind of crazy.
Mhm.
And then get to work from my house. So we have offices here in Bozeman, but I do get to work from home because a lot of my
That's nice.
team and my colleagues are remote. So I spend a lot of my day in meetings kind of like this, where I'm on video and we're trying to sort through the best strategy to make sure that the customers that we're trying to talk to and the customers that we're trying to say, like, hey, you're missing out on a really great opportunity here to get an elk tag or something. And we think we can help you with that because our product does X, Y, and Z. If we're trying to come up with a strategy for that, my team members and I think through those various different segments of customers we're trying to work with and come up with the best way to communicate that and persuade them
Mhm.
to really lean into the tool that they're paying for. And I guess the way to summarize that is that, and it was really the topic of a keynote speaker that I had listened to one time at the National Retailer Association's digital conference. And his whole topic was about the fact that today there are all kinds of products on the market. Consumers can get products from anywhere.
Mhm.
Amazon, Walmart, your retailer, or an app that is meant for hunters on the Google Play Store, the App Store, the website. They can get a paper map. There are different levels of success they're going to have, but products are available to consumers all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
A marketer's job is today is to catch and hold their attention. We have to make sure that those customers are paying attention to us, not the other options that they have in the market. Products can be unique, they are unique, but convincing them that yours is the one requires their attention, and getting people's attention is really hard today.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess where I'm going with that is just that I spend my day thinking about the best way to capture and maintain certain customers' attention and persuade them to capitalize on the things that they have access to. You would think that if a customer buys something from you, that they were already convinced, and that's a process that can take some coaching, some interactions, some again, some persuasion to help them see that maybe the two things that they bought it for are not the only two things that they could get value from it.
Yeah. So you kind of do the research side of it and thinking how to best persuade them, and then you do the actual persuasion. Do you have a favorite between the two that you do on a day-to-day basis?
Oh boy. Well, in doing the actual persuasion, the way that looks, I guess, within automation is that we're working in our email kind of campaign builders and trying to uh, really segment out and find the customers that that this is going to resonate the most with.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that is based on data. Data at any company is produced by whom? People who build the product, engineers, especially a SaaS product. So there's a lot of relationship building there that exists between me as a marketing automation representative for the company and the people building the product. And me understanding if we create a new feature, that is new value for our customers to get from the subscription that they're paying us for. There's a whole lot to understand about that feature, what it's intended for, when it's being released, what version of the app someone has to have in order to have access to it, when's that going to occur, what are the 4 different use cases. And so there's a lot of work that goes into that, like building that. And without that, I don't have the thing to market to the customer. So I really love the back and forth to figure out what is the use case? How can I get this in front of people who really need it and not bother the other customers who really have little use for it, right?
Right.
I
Yeah.
think there's an example that I could give where I live in the West. I live in the mountains, and we have some spotty cell phone service. So when you're
Right.
using an app, we have a feature that offers you a visualization of your app called offline maps when you don't have cell phone service or Wi-Fi, and you can still get a GPS tracker on your map.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool feature. But if you're hunting pheasants in South Dakota, you don't necessarily need that feature because there are no
Right.
mountains blocking your cell phone coverage. So things like that become really important because that piece of like that feature is not going to catch a South Dakota hunter's attention the way it's going to catch a Western hunter's attention. So
Mm-hmm.
all of these pieces end up building these crazy cool strategies, and that's the part that I love. I don't really love going in and coding the email and doing the building of it and the
Yeah.
journeying and the decision logic. Like that part is not what I love, but I have to know how to do that in order to do my
Mm-hmm.
job. That part is made a whole lot better, and I'm more effective the more research I have, the more understanding I have, and the more literacy I've gained about that feature that was built in its intention.
Wonderful. So as we kind of wrap up here, are there any kind of piece of advice you'd give to somebody going into your field, or maybe little girls who are intimidated to work for a tech company, that you'd like to say to them?
I would say that Well, I guess there are three things. The first thing is I believe that being curious and asking questions is one of the strongest and um, most fierce things that anyone I work with could do.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because it only gets you mentors. Asking questions, leaning in, not being afraid to say, "Ooh, that doesn't quite make sense to me. Can you restate that? Or could you say that a different way? I'm not sure I got it 100%." Shows me as a manager that you have every intent of doing this job the way, the best way you can figure out how to do it, and you want to understand, and you too want to serve the customer in the best way possible.
Mm.
That's really strong as someone starting out in in the field.
Mm-hmm.
And so that level of curiosity is key. And it is only viewed in a tech company as a strength because it means you want to understand and then go try it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
then go try and show your manager what you tried. And you took that information, you ingested it, you digested it, and you spat something out. And you want it to be great. You're getting it checked, but if it's not, you actually care.
Right.
That you care that it might you cared enough to fail at it. That this
Mm-hmm.
might not be right, but this is what I was able to pull together, and that's a
Mm-hmm.
really strong skill set.
Yeah, you put
Other
in the effort.
There are other two things I would say, and these are two pieces of information, like kind of mantras that I've gleaned onto from one of my other very favorite people, Brene Brown. One of her little quotes is that clear is kind. And I really think that that has a lot of merit because the clearer you can be in what you need or want or the help or the question that you're asking, the better I can support you as a mentor or a manager. And that speaks volumes to how you've taken some of that feedback as someone who's just starting out, and you can say, okay, I heard you say XYZ. Is that what you meant? Yes, no, okay, move forward. No manager expects perfection. Managers do expect improvement. So if
Mm-hmm.
you're willing to work toward that improvement piece and clearly state where you are with a project or what your expectation is as an employee, that's really, really powerful. And then the third thing, another Brene Brown quote, but she talks about having a soft front and a strong back. And that soft front really means that you can receive and sit with and hold some feedback and treasure it. And your strong back means that you don't let it push you over.
Mm.
That you can receive something
Yeah.
and not let it hurt you. And it's just a really strong visualization that I've found really powerful. You can also hold on to that feedback, let it sit with you, marinate for a little while. And if you're not letting it push you over, you can also release it and say, you know what, I took that feedback. I happen to disagree 100% with it. And thank you, but I'm going to let go of that feedback now. So if
Mm-hmm.
you have a, a I don't know, a persona that's going to hold on to all the feedback you've ever gotten in your entire life, eventually one of those pieces is going to push you down.
Mm-hmm.
And that can't be the case. We have to learn and move forward and let that feedback enable us, not consume us.
I love that. Well, thank you so much. This was so insightful. But
Oh,
we
I'm
really
glad.
appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you again for having me, and I'm
Yeah.
so proud of all of you and all the work you're doing.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to this episode. Next week on Code Girls on Air.
My favorite thing I think about my job is really advocating for my staff when there's opportunities, whether it is a new program being spun up or a stretch assignment for them. I just have the most amazing team, and I love to give them the chance to keep growing their skill sets in their careers.